Humbert Road in Alton.
Once I got here to Lewis and Clark, I felt connected to this place.
It is about intellectual curiosity and people who want to work with faculty mentors and delve into these areas they're interested in.
And it gives the chance for students to develop a more full version of themselves.
Lewis and Clark for me is going to be the place that I found myself.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
For the biggest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in the Riverbend, visit AltonToyota.com or stop by their location on the Homer Adams Parkway in Alton. Winner of the prestigious President's Award, Mungan Burkhardt Alton Toyota knows how to treat their customers, and they will help you find the vehicle that is perfect for you. For years, Mungan Toyota has been a fixture in the Riverbend, and now Mungan Burkhardt carries the tradition. New name, but the same great service you've come to expect.
You won't find a better health club than Nautilus Fitness Center. More cardio, more free weights and equipment, more classes, a swimming pool, and more. If you're serious about your health and want to make a change, then stop thinking about it and visit Nautilus Fitness Center on Industrial Drive in Alton. Don't fall for the hype you get from the other health clubs. Nautilus is the Riverbend's premier health club. Has been for years and will be for years to come. Get to Nautilus Fitness Center and get started on a healthier new you.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBenderRadio.com.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
I set the thermostat so my house would be warm when I got home from work, but the kitchen is still cool.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we stand behind every Lennox system we sell.
My dealer said he'd take care of everything.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we understand everyone wants prompt, professional service.
Turns out it wasn't my furnace after all, just a little something blocking the vent.
Pretty smart dog if you ask me. For service you can count on, call Barrett Heating and Cooling.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Go ahead and...
Get ready to fit a whole lot more into your day. Introducing the all-new U-Force 1000. It's the talk of the industry, and for good reason. It starts with the all-new 1000cc engine, 79 horsepower, liquid-cooled. Drivetrain, CB Tech, as durable as it gets under heavy loads. The U-Force 1000. Everything you need to ride without compromise.
Oh, actually, no, leave it, go for another, because we got our guests coming in now. Awesome, guys, how are we doing? So I'll have you sit over here for me, or if you want, you can sit here. We can switch it up, whatever you... No, stay on, if you don't mind, stay on this side. Yeah, well, I'm just going to ask you about your story and just have you kind of talk to me. I want to hear about you and what Veterans Day means to you, and just how the Post is able to, kind of be there for you guys, and just what your traditions are and what your guys' story is.
Kind of our stories because our son.
Right, and that's why I wanted you to, that's why I wasn't going to ask very many, just have you kind of talk about it.
Yeah. Since today's Veterans Day and not Memorial Day, right. I didn't know if you should even bring that up.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, it's all.
He's the main one of all my stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely love to have you do what talk about anything you want to talk about.
Probably if you could present it in a question to me, then it would probably be easier than me just sitting here trying to.
can definitely do that for you. And where should I sit? You can sit right here for me. And then what's your name, ma'am? Lynn. Awesome. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I'm CJ. And then we'll have you right in front of that microphone.
And where's this going to be?
On RiverBender.com.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet.
I just got
Anytime you want to watch it forever.
a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet. I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trunks. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible. Covering auto, home, business, and life insurance, our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
If you like to get out and go with a friend riding shotgun, the Z-Force line of sports side-by-sides are the perfect machines for you. Whether exploring the backcountry or racing down the trails, these beasts flat out give you more without having to pay for more. Life's too short to stay home.
When you need reliable tires without breaking the bank, you won't find a better deal than Cheapy's Tires. Our extensive selection of tires include all major brands, both new and used, along with rims. We'll get you where you need to be with more cash in your pocket. We can work with any budget and get you back on the road in no time. Rough weather is just around the corner, and low tread just won't do. So don't get stuck with bad wheels. Visit Cheapy's Tires on East Broadway in Alton today. Dependable tires at an unbelievable price.
Are you in the market for new flooring? Look no further than Ed Eagles Discount Carpet. Ed Eagles has an enormous inventory of carpet, tile, vinyl, and hardwood with professionally trained carpet installers that will treat your project and home with the utmost respect. Lowe's and Home Depot can't even compare. Our discounted prices regularly beat out the big box stores. Stop by today to have your new flooring ready for the holiday season. Ed Eagles, quality carpet, tile, vinyl, and hardwood at discount prices. Located on Humbert Road in Alton.
Good afternoon. It's not afternoon, John Hendrick. It's good morning. We've had an afternoon here at Alton Post VFW. It's our Veterans Day special right here at Post 1308. We got a lot of great coverage coming your way here on RiverBender.com. We're going to take you to the ceremonies taking place at 10 o'clock, but right now, I already set the stage. I called it afternoon. I still might not be awake. We have Lynn and Jim here with us. And Lynn, if you could, you're a Gold Star mom. And you've had just to start off, it's Veterans Day, not, and we kind of celebrate a little bit differently today. But what does this holiday mean to you? You've had a lot of family members in the service, I'm sure.
Yes, my husband and my father were just uncles, both sides of the family. So anyway, it's just been a long history of veterans, and my son, of course, Christopher, was in the service, obviously. But to be able to honor the men and women who choose to serve for our country, try to keep us free, and leave their families, and some go to war, some don't, but no matter what they're doing, it's just an honor to have anybody to know a veteran.
Well, and you're right, but and I've always made the argument that the families that you guys go through just as much as the men and women that you guys send off to go fight for us. Can you take us through maybe some of that what you guys experience? And I'm sure there has to be a good strong network of families that are there for each other when somebody goes overseas.
Yes, and I joined online, what was called Marine Moms Online.
Okay.
And when Chris was serving, and that was a great network to get to talk to other moms that were new to the Marine Corps at that time.
Right.
And then, of course, a lot of us became Gold Stars. So they did a private section for the Gold Star mothers just to talk online, and they could share stories and emotions, whatever, to support each other. Because the Marine moms, we were kind of like a nightmare for them, you know.
Right.
So that was a huge, huge support for me. Besides the family support, everybody, you know. And people were always sending packages to Iraq, to Chris, and get involved in those type of things. And then after we lost Christopher, the VFW was a great support for us.
And talk to me a little bit more about the post here in 1308. How is the team here? How is the community at? It seems like there's a great tight-knit, support system here as well.
Yes, they're wonderful people. And I was actually made an honorary Marine. I should have brought my plaque that they gave me.
That's cool.
For being a Gold Star mom.
Well, and you guys, and I really mean this. The families, whenever I'll never experience that for quite a while, or maybe ever, with sending somebody that your son or daughter overseas, and to have support here is really a great thing. Talk to us about the ceremony today. How long have you guys been participating in this, or coming and showing your support?
Let's see. Well, after Christopher got killed.
Okay.
I don't think it was the first year, maybe second or third year. I started doing the Gold Star wreath, and that got me more and more interested. And
17 years ago.
Yeah.
About 17 years, you said, Jim? And
they're just so loving, and nobody ever forgets about Chris.
No.
And
great organization, really.
They're wonderful.
Is it? And I wanted to ask you a little bit more about, the Gold Star families and the network of support that you guys have, because it seems like that system is very intensive, and there's a lot of people there to kind of lean on each other and support one another. Talk to us about that, maybe for some of us that don't really understand how that kind of works and how that has evolved over the years.
Well, there's a huge group of many, many mothers of all ages, unfortunately.
Right.
But to be able to reach out to each other. Now with Facebook, I have to say, the good and the bad of it is I have, besides the Gold Star moms, I've had a lot of Christopher's Marine brothers reach out to me.
Oh.
And we've become very close. They've come to meet us. They've come to visit Chris's grave. But the Gold Star moms are one of the greatest support systems. You can talk to each other about things you wouldn't maybe want to express to other people, and they get it. They understand. Like we say, our mind knows they've been gone this long, but our heart doesn't know that, But you can just share things, feelings and experiences that you may not share with other people.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to ask you, as we kind of wrap this up, because you guys, I don't want to keep you too long here, because you guys have the festivities and all that to kind of take part in, and we really appreciate you guys sitting down with me for a couple of minutes. But for all of us that aren't in the active duty with our family, or maybe a distant relative, or maybe a brother or an uncle, talk to us about the importance of celebrating these holidays and remembering our brave men and women fighting for us overseas and here at home.
Yeah, it's very important. People need the support. The people in the service need the support. The ones who are away from home, whether it's basic training.
And what it means to us is it's not all combat or fighting. It's when you sign that line, you sign it up into and including your life. And everyone who does that is subject to that, and you got to support that.
Absolutely.
You have to. That's the whole thing about Veterans Day.
Absolutely. And were you a veteran yourself, sir?
Yes.
Oh, well, talk to us about.
He's in the Navy.
Talk to us about your time in the Navy.
Yeah, I was back in the old days. I was aboard the USS Forrestal aircraft carrier in 1960-62. And enjoyed it all. I mean, I did my 4 years and went on to different things, but it was always a great camaraderie with all the guys I was with.
And this is Chris's stepdad, and Christopher's father, he's passed now, he was in the Navy also. And on Chris's side of the family, the Belchick side, a lot of the men served too. So his family, my family, we're just have a lot of veterans, or have had.
And talk to us, one last question for you guys before I let you go. Talk
Sure.
to us about how the Navy shaped you into the man you are today.
It was a rude awakening going to boot camp like it is for everyone.
I bet.
And never been away from home,
Right.
practically. And it shapes you. I can say that. It
grow
turns
up.
you from,
Yeah.
if you were wishy-washy, you weren't after boot camp. It was a awakening, and you learn what it means to have discipline. You know, from a kid to a man in about 4 years.
Right.
Real quickly.
Absolutely.
Christopher, it totally changed him. Oh my goodness.
Really?
Oh yes. When he went in, he was kind of just drifting,
Yep.
you know, and when he came out of boot camp, oh my gosh. I mean, he stood tall and proud, and oh, he was totally different, and loved the Marine Corps.
That is
The camaraderie is great.
absolutely.
Really good. So,
Absolutely.
and as it is here today with all these vets.
You know, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time out.
Absolutely.
We're gonna let you guys get back to it. We're gonna take a break here in just a couple of seconds. So Lynn and Jim, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it very
us.
much.
It's
Thank you.
9:43 here at Alton Post VFW 1308 for their Veterans Day celebrations. We bring you live coverage right back after this quick break from Post 1308.
Are you in the market for new flooring? Look no further than Ed Eagles Discount Carpet. Ed Eagles has an enormous inventory of carpet, tile, vinyl, and hardwood with professionally trained carpet installers that will treat your project and home with the utmost respect. Lowe's and Home Depot can't even compare. Our discounted prices regularly beat out the big box stores. Stop by today to have your new flooring ready for the holiday season. Ed Eagles, quality carpet, tile, vinyl, and hardwood at discount prices. Located on Humbert Road in Alton.
Once I got here to Lewis and Clark, I felt connected to this place.
It is about intellectual curiosity and people who want to work with faculty mentors and delve into these areas they're interested in.
And it gives the chance for students to develop a more full version of themselves.
Lewis and Clark for me is going to be the place that I found myself.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
For the biggest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in the Riverbend, visit AltonToyota.com or stop at their location on the Homer Adams Parkway in Alton. Winner of the prestigious President's Award, Munganast Burkhardt Alton Toyota knows how to treat their customers, and they will help you find the vehicle that is perfect for you. For years, Munganast Toyota has been a fixture in the Riverbend, and now Munganast Burkhardt carries the tradition. New name, but the same great service you've come to expect.
You won't find a better health club than Nautilus Fitness Center. More cardio, more free weights and equipment, more classes, a swimming pool, and more. If you're serious about your health and want to make a change, then stop thinking about it and visit Nautilus Fitness Center on Industrial Drive in Alton. Don't fall for the hype you get from the other health clubs. Nautilus is the Riverbend's premier health club. Has been for years and will be for years to come. Get to Nautilus Fitness Center and get started on a healthier new you.
Coming back. All right, we're back here live from Post 1308. It's our Veterans Day special live here on RiverBender.com. Bill Perkins, who was in the Marines in Desert Storm, sir, thank you so much for your service, your time today. Just wanted to ask you right off the bat about your time in the Marine Corps.
Well, I enlisted out of high school in 1974, went to boot camp Paris Island, and had a number of different tours of different organizations. I always say between Saigon in 75 and Somalia in 93, there wasn't too many dances I didn't get invited to. But my job was communications, and I did a tour as a drill instructor, part of a tour of recruiting here in the Alton Metroplex, and worked special operations for a little while. Desert Storm, I was the communications chief of 1st Combat Engineer Battalion.
Oh, wow.
My wife always reminds me that he invaded like the 2nd or 3rd of August, and she says, do you think we're going to get involved in this? And with all the absolute certainty in the world, I said, nah, we're not going to get involved in that little fiasco. We'll sit here and watch it play out on TV. I think that was Sunday. And Wednesday night at 9 p.m., I was gone from Camp Pendleton.
Oh, wow.
And we went to 29 Palms and married up with the 7th Marine Regiment, the 1st and 3rd Tank Battalions, and a reinforced battalion of the 11th Marine Artillery, and to form the 7th Marine Expeditionary Brigade, and then went over to Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
And so then I was over there from August until the 31st of March. As the air war began, we split the division in two to form two task forces. Task Force Ripper, which was the primary assault group, and Task Force Papa Bear, which is the group I was with.
Right.
And I always get a kick out of the way they word. You got to love the way they word stuff. Like I said, the Ripper's main objective was this airfield within Kuwait, and they were the main thrust. We were to their right, or to the east. And our mission, and like I said, you just got to love wording, our mission was to absorb the anticipated mechanized assault out of the east.
What does that mean? 10 points for anyone that can tell us that, right?
You gotta love it. I don't have that book of benign phrases for combat. I wish I did. But there was a large mechanized units deployed along the coast. And the idea was that they would do an about-face and assault our thrust into Kuwait. Well, Schwarzkopf and his brilliant planning had the Marines off the coast there on the ships do these amphibious practices into Saudi Arabia. And so they stayed glued to the coast waiting for this amphibious assault that never came. So they didn't budge. We went right alongside Ripper, cut them off, and...
you want to hurry up? This is not a whole story.
And cut them off, and that was pretty much the end of them. Of course, the ceasefire came, and we returned to the States. And for me, the most precarious part of it was my youngest daughter's first birthday was the second day of the ground war.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, okay, Lord, not today, please.
Right.
But, Desert Storm, I always call it the new forgotten war because everybody did their job so well, so quickly, so proficiently. It was the least amount of loss of life on both sides. And that, I think, was the best victory.
Absolutely. And, thank you so much. And Wayne, who just came by, Post Commander here at Post 1308, who actually I just talked to about Desert Storm a couple of days ago and just reiterated the same thing you just said. And one last thing, because I don't want to keep you too long, talk to us about the importance of Veterans Day. How is it, why is it so, in your mind and your heart, why do we need to have all of these generations really? Because I think it's kind of sad that some of the younger generations don't seem to really admire as much as we do.
Because by talking to a veteran, it reminds you of especially if you're younger, learn about history. Learn from the people who lived it, who were forced to live nightmares, and work and strive that those nightmares do not get repeated, that there is a solution, and find that before you have to resort to violence.
Absolutely.
And recognize those who have given up so much.
That's you know what, I couldn't have said that better myself, sir. Thank you for your service, Bill Perkins, and thank you for your time today. It is 9:50 on the dot here at Alton Alton VFW Post 1308. Our celebration of Veterans Day continues right here on RiverBender.com after a quick break and more conversation with our local brave men and women that served in our armed forces.
Riverbender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBenderRadio.com.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
I set the thermostat so my house would be warm when I got home from work, but the kitchen is still cool.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we stand behind every Lennox system we sell.
My dealer said he'd take care of everything.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we understand everyone wants prompt, professional service.
Turns out it wasn't my furnace after all, just a little something blocking the vent.
Pretty smart dog if you ask me. For service you can count on, call Barrett Heating and Cooling.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Get ready to fit a whole lot more into your day. Introducing the all-new U-Force 1000. It's the talk of the industry, and for good reason. It starts with the all-new 1000cc engine, 79 horsepower, liquid-cooled. Drivetrain, CB Tech, as durable as it gets under heavy loads. The U-Force 1000. Everything you need to ride without compromise.
Are we back? We are back live from Alton VFW, Post 1308, and Post Commander Wade already giving me a little bit of some tough love. That was, when you touch my hair, it's almost like a crime. And then Mayor David Goins walking by.
I wouldn't know about hair.
Dave Stout joins us now. Your name is also on the building here at Post 1308.
Yes, sir.
Sir, talk to us about your time in the military and your background.
All righty. My name's Dave Stout. I graduated from Marquette High School right here in Alton in 1965.
John Intrigue likes that.
And I went straight into the Air Force. Several people from our class went into the military right after graduation. It was the time of the draft, of course, and most of us knew we were probably going to get drafted anyway, so why not have your choice of where you go? So I joined the United States Air Force on July 26, 1965.
Wow. And you went right. How long were you here in the States until you went over to Vietnam?
I was in I was stayed in the States for 2 years, which basically got me through my initial basic training and then my technical training at Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi. Then my first duty assignment was Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And you send an 18-year-old Catholic kid to Myrtle Beach. That's another. We haven't got time for that story. Okay.
I can only imagine.
So at any rate, from there I deployed to Vietnam in May of 1968, and spent my time there. Came back, got redeployed to Vietnam in 1972 in time for our withdrawal. And then I decided I liked the Air Force pretty well, so I stayed another 20-something years.
Wow.
So.
And then how did you retire? What rank did you retire at?
I retired as a Master Sergeant.
Wow. Pretty good run of things, huh?
Not bad.
Well, I also wanted to talk about, your name is on the side of this building here. Talk to us about your time and your work with the VFW.
Well, I got active in the VFW when I moved back to Alton from Saudi Arabia in 1999, and I joined the VFW pretty much as soon as I got back and got involved with the Honor Guard and the Ritual Team, and I was post commander in 2005, made All-American status.
Oh wow!
I was a district commander from 2009 through 2012 of the 12th district, which is West Central Illinois, 8 counties. And then I moved up and went through what they called the chairs at state level. I was junior, senior, and finally state commander in 2016. And
wow.
I've been pretty active at state and district level pretty much since 1999, so I'm working on 25 years doing this.
That's incredible. So, and we have a couple of seconds left. I'm going to ask you one last question. For the next generations, for the younger generations, how can we, preserve and make sure that we're doing just as good a job of remembering and honoring those who served?
Well, for those that are so inclined, they can join the military. For the rest of them, I would recommend that they read history or they talk to veterans and their families. you know, the divisiveness that's present in the United States right now does not exist in the military.
Right.
We're all on the same team. We all have the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
We work together, whether we like each other or not, doesn't matter.
Right.
But we work together to accomplish the mission. And that in itself is an education.
Absolutely. You know, you're absolutely right. And it's a couple of minutes before the start of the ceremony, so we're going to let you get to where you need to get to on this, Dave Stout. Thank you so much for
all
your
right,
time today,
CJ,
sir. Thank you for your service.
say hello to your Uncle Guy. Okay?
Oh, absolutely.
He was in my class, too.
Was he really? It's 9:57. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to take you to the ceremony at Alton Post 1308 for their Veterans Day celebration. Thank you so much. We'll come back after the ceremony and wrap up with a few more interviews here live from Alton VFW Post 1308.
Are you in the market for new flooring? Look no further than Ed Eagles Discount Carpet. Ed Eagles has an enormous inventory of carpet, tile, vinyl, and hardwood with professionally trained carpet installers that will treat your project and home with the utmost respect. Lowe's and Home Depot can't even compare. Our discounted prices regularly beat out the big box stores. Stop by today to have your new flooring ready for the holiday season. Ed Eagles, quality carpet, tile, vinyl, and hardwood at discount prices. Located on Humbert Road in Alton.
Once I got here to Lewis and Clark, I felt connected to this place.
It is about intellectual curiosity and people who want to work with faculty mentors and delve into these areas they're interested in.
And it gives the chance for students to develop a more full version of themselves.
Lewis and Clark for me is going to be the place that I found myself.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shannon Yao, and I served in the Marine Corps for more than 7 years. During my service, I deployed to Afghanistan, and my main mission was to cover all the good things Marines were doing in country. I learned a lot from the deployment, and it has made me truly appreciate the life I have and the life that my husband and I can offer our children. On this Veterans Day, VFW Post 1308 honors Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. Those who lay the wreaths today served during the Iraq and Afghanistan era. I would like to introduce Bill Perkins, who will conduct the daily prayer.
Everybody please rise. For those covered, please uncover. Let us pray. God of peace, we pray for those who have laid down their lives to protect and defend our freedoms. We pray for those who have fought, whose spirits and bodies are scarred by war, whose nights are haunted by memories too painful for the light of day. We pray for those who serve now, especially for those in harm's way. Shield them from danger and bring them home. Turn the hearts and minds of our leaders and our enemies to the work of justice and the harvest of peace. Shelter the victims of injustice. May the peace you left us, the peace you gave us, be the peace that sustains, the peace that saves us. In Christ's blessed name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Now, Troop 1 and Cub Scout Pack 8001 will say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. You may be seated.
Thank you, Scouts. Please stand as Steve Corbell sings the national anthem. Corbett.
First of all, before we sing, I want to say thank you to all the veterans, all the people that have helped keep me safe through these years. And I want to say it is quite an honor to be asked to sing this here today. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please sit. The next person really doesn't need an introduction because he is well known in the veteran community. Alton Mayor David Goins, who will read this year's proclamation.
When I think about those last few words of the Star-Spangled Banner, or the land of the free and the home of the brave, we're experiencing freedom because of those who are brave. Brave enough to answer to the call to enlist in various branches of the military. Brave enough to run to the battle instead of running away from the battle. Brave enough to lay down their life for another soldier. And ultimately, brave enough to pay the ultimate sacrifice by giving their life. I just want to honor every veteran here today. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your steadfastness. And I'm honored to read this proclamation in honor of all veterans here and all over this world. Whereas in 1921, Congress passed legislation approving the establishment of a tomb of the unknown soldier in Arlington National Cemetery. This site became the focal point of reverence for America's veterans. And whereas similar ceremonies occurred earlier in England and France, These memorial gestures all took place on November 11th, giving universal recognition to the celebrated end of World War I at 11 a.m., November 11, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The day became known as Armistice Day. And whereas Armistice Day officially received its name in America in 1926 through a congressional resolution, 12 years later it became a national holiday. And whereas World War I was believed to be the war to end all wars, if that had occurred, there would still be Armistice Day. But only a few years after the holiday was proclaimed, another war broke out in Europe. Whereas realizing that peace was equally preserved by veterans of World War II and the Korean War, Congress was requested to make the day an occasion to honor those who have served in all wars. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a bill proclaiming November 11th as Veterans Day. And whereas on Memorial Day 1958, 2 more unidentified American soldiers were brought from overseas and interred in the plaza beside the unknown soldier of World War I. One was killed in World War II and the other in the Korean War. And whereas in 1973, a law passed providing interment of an unknown American soldier from the Vietnam War. And whereas in 1968, a law passed changing the national commemoration of Veterans Day to the 4th Monday in October. But it soon became apparent that November 11th was a date of historic significance to many Americans. Therefore, in 1978, Congress returned the observance to its traditional date. Now, therefore, I, David Goins, Mayor of the City of Alton, Illinois, do hereby proclaim Friday, November 11th, 2022, as Veterans Day in the City of Alton, Illinois. I encourage all citizens to recognize the achievements of our veterans on improving the quality of life for all people of our country. In witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and caused the great seal of the City of Alton, Illinois, to be affixed this 11th day of November 2022. David Goins, Mayor. Cheryl Engel, City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. I will now introduce the keynote speaker, Mr. Elliot Ferguson, who served in the United States Army. Mr. Ferguson is a detective with the Alton Police Department who is a Purple Heart recipient.
All right, so I'm not very good with public speaking. I'm just kidding. That being said, somebody told me one time that a soldier or a Marine or a veteran or anything that's served in the armed forces, when they sign that check, when they sign that contract, they sign a blank check, right? They give it over to their country, they sign that blank check saying that if it comes down to it, they're willing to lay down their life for their country. So I was asked, and I'm very honored to give this keynote speech today. I said, how long do you want me to talk for? Because I can talk for a while, And they said, it's about 10 minutes. And they said, do you think you can do it? I said, well, been asked to do a lot more difficult things, so I guess probably yes, I can do that. I said, what do you want me to talk about? There's so much things that we can remember on Veterans Day. There's so many people we can remember on Veterans Day. I don't want to turn it into a Memorial Day speech because, half of who I am today is because of the men and women that I knew in the service, right? That I lost, personally. But every veteran in this room has lost somebody that they know of, right? And I'm going to try not to get emotional, but it hits the soul, right? Some of the guys that I lost are, I wear a bracelet in remembrance of them. This bracelet has each one of their names imprinted on it. Todd Davis, Wayne Geiger, Matthew Sutmar, Lieutenant Colonel Rod Coffey, Doc Holloway, and then Senzel 7, And so I'm going to tell you a little story about who the Stencil 7 are. Feel free to Google this story. It's a true story, I promise. In Iraq, I served in the United States Army as a 19 kilo. And as a 19 kilo, that's what we call an MOS in the military. It's a job designation. When we signed that contract as an initial soldier into the United States Army, we sign with a job intention, right? With where we go, what we're going to do when we get there. As a 19 kilo, that job designation means that I was an M1 Abrams battle tank armor crewman. So, you know the big tanks with the big tracks and the big guns, and they shoot and we go into combat. And I thought, man, this is going to be cool, right? Like, oh man, I get to drive these big, giant, cool, very, very awesome vehicles. Get to Germany where I was stationed. And, well, let me back up a little bit. We went to, first, sign that dotted line, and we went to Fort Knox, Kentucky. Fort Knox, Kentucky is a brutal place that I don't ever want to go back to. Fort Knox, Kentucky's, its nickname is the School of Hard Knocks, right? It was bitter, bitter cold. And I went there in the winter of 2006 with probably, I would say, 200, 300 other men, kids that are 19 years old, 18 years old, that were training to become military, become Army, right? There I learned a lot of lessons that I still carry on with myself to this day. From there, I left my duty station. I left my basic training, and I went to Germany. I went to Vilseck, Germany. It's a small, small little town near the town of Amberg. It's connected to the Grafenwehr training area. It's a place called Rose Barracks. In this place, I have joined approximately 5,000 to 10,000 other men and women that came from other locations that had been trained, that were about ready to go to war. I joined Germany barracks in February of 2007. In August of 2007, so I'd only been there for 5 or 6 months, we got the letter. You're going to Iraq. So we all pack our bags, we all get our training equipment. This is the day we've trained for, right? We knew this was going to happen. We knew we were going to go to Iraq. We knew we were going to go serve our country. That's what we signed up for. Because I'm part of that generation that signed that dotted line. I was the one that sought out the recruiters with that sign-on bonus to go to Iraq, right? So we go to Iraq, we land in Kuwait, and we have to do some weird things. I will never forget riding on the C-130 from Germany, from Bamberg, Germany to Kuwait. And as we approach, where when you're riding on the civilian aircraft and you can see the little screen and it shows you on the map, one of the things that we had noticed was the map, they took a kind of a U-turn and they went around, and I said, why aren't we flying in a straight line? So we can't fly over that country. They're going to shoot us down if we fly over that country. That was the first time as a soldier, I've been preparing for this my whole life. I've been getting ready, saying, I'm a bad mother, right? I'm going to go fight. That was the first time I go, holy crap, this is real, right? Like, that's not normal. So we land in Kuwait, we get our equipment, we get our trucks ready, and we drive across the border into Iraq. And we land in Baghdad International Airport, is where we go. And I'm like, kind of not knowing what to expect. And we get there, and we get set tent poles. I'm like, wait a second, this is the 21st century. What are we staying in tents for? Nope. Big, giant, white tents that had about 100 guys in it per tent. Shoulder-to-shoulder cots. I said, oh my gosh, what did I got myself into, right? And then from the winter of 2007, it wasn't until September of that same year. We got there in August. In September, an incident happened in Iraq It's called Sinsel 7. There was a combat mission being fought in the area of Sinsel, Iraq. It's spelled S-I-N-S-I-L. One of the things that we had been doing was we were trying to establish military strongholds with these people we call concerned local citizens. And we were trying to boost up the civilian population to try to help them combat Al-Qaeda. Well, one of the things in Iraq that's unique to some wars is the invention of the IED, okay? The improvised explosive device, right? This is where the enemy would bury a bomb, and they would hope that an American soldier would either drive over it or walk over it, blow themselves up, right? So there were a few different methods. One, they would either hope for you to just run over it and cause a pressure plate, and it would cause the detonation of this explosive. The other way is a trigger man. Stands in the corner with the little remote and the wire, and they wait for that person to get close to it, and then they blow up the bomb, hoping for as much casualty damage as they could. Unfortunately, what we didn't know was there was a third type that we learned about that day, and it's called the HBED, the house-borne IED. Group of my friends, 7 of them total, 6 American soldiers and 1 Iraqi interpreter. We had been getting intelligence of this house-borne IED. We were like, what is this? It's this unicorn we've never seen before, right? And so we decided that as a military intelligence, what we would do is we would take a local citizen to help us walk through these buildings that we were clearing. And the idea was the locals know where these enemy are placing these bombs, right? They know because their brothers know, because their sisters know, because their friends know. They have a network that we will never know about. And the idea was they're not going to walk us into a building that they know is going to blow up because they don't want to blow up themselves. Well, unfortunately, these 7 guys of the recon platoon of the 3rd Stryker Cavalry Regiment, 2nd Stryker, I can't talk. 2nd Stryker Cavalry Regiment decided it was the recon platoon. They said, we're going to take this guy and we're going to walk through a building. Guy walked him through the building, escorted him through. He showed them all the nooks and crannies in the rooms, and they said, okay, this is safe. They sat down for their briefing. They're now in a structure that they know is clear. Unfortunately, the guy who they chose to walk through the building was the trigger man. Okay? On his way out, he not only armed the bomb, but he detonated the bomb on top of 7 of my friends. Blew up this building, caused it to land on them, killed all 7. Injured quite a few more. So, shortly thereafter, that was a blow to me. That was hard. But you buck up, you keep going, and you keep going into combat the next day. Approximately 10 days later, I think it was, I was in Iraq, in Baghdad, and we were doing a mission, and my truck was struck by a 57mm rocket. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's a large rocket. It's an RPG. My Struck is a 19-ton Stryker. It has 8 wheels. It's an armor personnel carrier. And it was the rocket was shot through a primitive steel tubing across a field. And I'll never forget the day that I was sitting, because I was the driver of that truck. And I'll never forget, I was sitting in that seat, and it had been the most boring day I had ever been. I was like, man, when is this day going to be over, right? We had been on missions, and we had been running missions hard. I mean, we were running ourselves hard. And we were sitting in a defensive position. We had already unloaded, thank God, we had already unloaded all of our infantrymen out into a nearby building, and they were doing their clearing procedures. And I never forget, we were sitting there, and we have internal comms, and we hear them over the radio. I'm sorry, I forgot a piece of this story. One of the things that in our training and in our reactions in Iraq, we had big, long retaining walls around these roads. And some of the insurgents, as a tactic, would take grenades, and they would walk on the other side of the walls and they would throw them over the wall to try to hit our trucks. With our big, strong trucks, those grenades really aren't going to do much, right? Unless they get a really, really good shot with them. So I remember over the radio, they started to alert us to these two men walking in the field. And so all of our eyes start peeling and we start looking for these men. And all of a sudden, everything went dark. Everything went hazy. My whole truck flipped side to side, big explosion. And I remember thinking in that moment, after I kind of came to and understood what had just happened, I said, man, that was a big grenade. You know, man, that was something big that hit my truck. Didn't realize until come way later that they had actually shot a rocket across the field and blown up my truck. Now, I thank God every day. That happened on September 19th. I thank God every day, especially on September 19th, that none of my friends died in that incident, right? I have one of my best friends, his name is Nathan Wells. He got some shrapnel in his arm and his neck. I have another friend, his name is Christopher James. He got some shrapnel in the leg. I was struck in the face by my periscope of my truck, knocked unconscious. And we're all okay. We all lived. We all now have a special little, our own holiday that on a September 19th, I call every single one of those guys and I say, Happy Rocket Day. Happy Rocket Day, because you're here, right? So, Veterans Day is important to us. Thank you for I'm sure every single veteran in this room has a story like that. A little bit about me is, after I got out of the service, I got married, have 3 beautiful children, went to college, got my criminal justice degree, became a police officer with the city of Alton. I love my job. Absolutely love my job. Gives me the opportunity to continue what I did in the service, right? Maybe on a smaller scale, but still, I get to help my community every day. In April of last year, I became a detective with the city of Alton. And I got to do something that I'm really passionate about. And I joined what is called becoming the SRO, which is the School Resource Officer for the city of Alton. I work at the Alton Middle School now, full time. I'm there every single day. And with what's going on in our country now, I would pick no better person than myself to be there, right? I want to be on that front line, protecting our kids, protecting our families from the outside threat. So, thank you for everyone's service. Thank you for everybody that's here. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Now we will conduct the laying of the wreath. First one to lay a wreath is for a Medal of Honor, Glenn Wilson, who served in the United States Marine Corps. POW, MIA, Tanya DeGarria. Gold Star Mothers,
There you go.
Gold Star Mothers, Lynn Linker, escorted by Alec Dvorak. Alton Post 1308 and Auxiliary, Commander Wayne Abel, and Auxiliary Senior Vice President Angie Abel. Army, Jeremy Lyle. Army, Jeff Sherwood. Navy, Jake Lloyd. United States Marine Corps, Brad Young. Air Force, Denise Hunt. Wreaths Across America, Tom Zingrang. Alton Leathernecks, 1160, Jim Freeman. A Few Good Men Marines, Bernie Caldwell. Ladies and gentlemen, Post Commander Wayne Abel.
did say we had to get the mayor out of here at 10:45, right? All right, first of all, my name's Wayne Abel. I'm the post commander. We need to thank Hardee's on Godfrey Road. They've been providing the breakfast biscuits for us for about 7 years now. We need to thank the sound system guys that allow us to use this, which is the Paisaw Gateway Charter. So we appreciate those guys very much. We have to appreciate the Patriot Guard. I don't know if we have any Patriot Guard out here, but they went out and around the Alton area and decorated the flags throughout the community. So we really need to thank those guys and gals. Apologies. Wow, what a great time, right? Thank you, sir. That was a great speech. Really hit home. As you can look around, I don't recognize any World War II veterans right now. I do not recognize any Korean veterans right now. Is there any Korean or World War II veterans around? That's the stage we're at. But in that process of saying that, will all of our Afghan and Iraq War veterans stand up and let's take a recognition of how they've grown around here. Thank you. As they say on the Disney Channel, it's the circle of life. CJ, I need you to cut the service about 30 seconds because this is going to be painful and I do not want this on the air. But to my Navy dependents, or in the civilian world we call the Marines, happy birthday. I'm going to need a Pepto after that one. That one's going to hurt. No, I'm very proud of the Marine Corps. They've been very good help. I mean, I don't mind feeding them, clothing them, taking them places, clearing the beaches off before they get there. I mean, I have nothing else to do except ride around in the ocean anyway, so what the heck. But I do have happy birthday, Marines. I hope that was off the air, CJ. But apparently our phone's ringing. VFW. I'm going to go over that just real quick and briefly, and then we'll end this ceremony. The VFW, when I started, it said no one does more for veterans than VFW. I took that as in my community. If somebody in Alton or somewhere in that area needed something, this post did it, and we do. 3 years ago, I took the commander position, and I learned what it really meant. No one does more for the veterans than the VFW, not only in the community, and this is the part that people need to understand, and I've started to learn in it. The reason why we promote and ask people to join the VFW on a hardcore basis is because we have 1 million members. We can stand and fight for their rights in Congress for 8 hours. Everybody else gets a few minutes. We get 8 hours. We keep 1 million people. That's the reason I started promoting and recruiting. And I know Dave's probably going to have a heart attack and hit the floor with this, but sometimes I don't recruit for Post 1308. I recruit the guys that I know will be, and the gals, that will enjoy the post that I think they will enjoy. It doesn't do no good to have a guy come over here and enjoy our post if they want to listen to Johnny Cash on the DJ machine all the time, but we have to share the radio. So I'll send them to a place where they might enjoy Johnny Cash 24/7. I mean, seriously, it won't do me any good to recruit somebody to join this post if it's not their post. But I will recruit you to join a post that you will enjoy. I will send you somewhere where you will have the same fun, whatever it is. If you like bingo, this is the place. If you like going to Children's Hospital, this is the place. If you like Johnny Cash, I have a place for you. But I did not know what it meant to actually say what it meant to say when we say no one does more for veterans until I heard we have to have 1 million people. And they explained it to me. And once they explained it to me, this is why we recruit. That's what made it easier for me to recruit. So if you're not a post member, I encourage you to join because if we have 1 million people, we can fight for the blue water guys in Vietnam still. We can fight for those burn pit victims. We can fight for our dependents when we're gone. So if you're not a member of the post, You don't have to be a member of my post, Dave's post. I'll find a post for you to join and have fun and enjoy your company with those guys and gals. But please, if you're not a member, consider joining a VFW, not for the VFW itself, the post itself, but to help your fellow comrades that need that fight in the Washington, D.C. area. We got a lot of really smart and bright guys that are up there and gals that are fighting for us at Congress. So thank you.
Thank you, Commander. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the closing prayer by Auxiliary District President Sue Parrish.
Let us pray. God of compassion, God of dignity and strength, watch over the veterans of the United States in recognition of their loyal service to our nation. Bless them with wholeness and love. Shelter them. Heal their wounds. Comfort their hearts. Grant them peace. God of justice and truth, rock of our lives, bless our veterans, these men and women of courage and valor, with a deep and abiding understanding of our profound gratitude. Protect them and their families from loneliness and want. Grant them lives of joy and happiness. May their dedication and honor be remembered as a blessing from generation to generation. Blessed are you, protector and redeemer, our shield and our stronghold. Amen.
Please stay standing for the 21-gun salute and taps conducted by the Alton Post 1308 ritual team. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the Veterans Day ceremony. Thank you for attending and have a great day.
Not sure if you've noticed.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBender.com.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Joining us now is Earl C. Watts. You were a first sergeant and an Army vet. And Earl, thank you so much for your time. We're taping this ahead of time because you're busy with the Legion tomorrow. Today, you guys have your own Veterans Day celebration. Earl, thank you so much for stopping into the building today.
Thank you for having me.
And I got to ask you, let's just start off. You've had quite a career of helping people, service to others. We had a great conversation right before we started recording this about some of the work that you've done to help veterans. But first, let me ask you about your time in the service. Could you take us through that?
Well, I started off in service. I was, what do you call it? Not recruited, but I was not enlisted. I was, what you call it?
Drafted?
Drafted. Yeah, I was drafted in 1957. And in 1957, I served 2 years in service. And then I come out of service in 1959. And then I went to work to try to get a job. And I come back home. And Reverend Wright said, I'll get you a job, son. And so he said, come on down to Duncan. So I went down to Duncan, and I had a light blue suit on, 3-piece suit, Stace Adams. I was clean.
Looking good.
Looking good. So my shoes and everything all matched up. So we went into the plant over there at Duncan, and went back into the plant. I come out of the plant. I couldn't tell me from the suit. I looked down my shoes, and I said, well, I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life, working afternoons, nights, and then eating this dust and sand. So I come down to Tony's. There was, right at Tony's on the corner down here, there was a recruiting station. I said, when can you get me out of here? Or how soon can you get me out of here? He said, well, as soon as you get these papers signed up. So I signed these papers. The next few days, I was on my way. And 22 years later, wow, I'm in the military. I'm been to various different places. I've been to Virginia. I was in a road research program in Chicago on these road tests back in the 60s. I left there and I started commanding a company of 226 men and women as a first sergeant. And I went overseas into a combat engineer outfit, 809th Engineers, that worked out of, first started working out of Udom, where the flights were flown into Vietnam, and then we built a combat escape road from through Thailand all the way down to Cambodia.
Oh, wow.
And then I got sick in there, and then I had to go to the hospital, and I went to the Philippines. I've served time in the Philippines, Okinawa, Japan, the islands of Hawaii, Necker and Nahoya, on a flight that I was a surveying engineer at that time. We did part of the U-2 flight that went up back in the 60s. And then after that, going back, I went to, was in Cambodia up until 65, 66. And then I was in the hospital at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania for about 3.5 months. Wow. And then I got out of there and went to another engineer company at Fort Hood, and then was training troops after that at Fort Carson, Colorado. Injured my back. I had completed all my courses and everything for warrant officer. I didn't get a chance to make that because I couldn't be deployed. And so at that time, I got out of service and came back home and went to work for the Treasury Department. And then while working for the Treasury Department, I went from clerk. I was the federal union representative, tax examiner, manager, and also established a AMVET in St. Louis for the Internal Revenue Service. I've also established another organization within the Internal Revenue Service called AIM, Association for Improving Minorities, training veterans and civilians in the organization how to do mock interviews and to get a job.
That's incredible.
And then after that, in 2001, I retired from the Internal Revenue Service, and also I was a paralegal.
Wow.
I also was a paralegal at that time. I had a certificate of paralegal. License expired now, but
there's not much you didn't do, is there?
And then from there, after leaving the Internal Revenue Service, I was contacted by the Coalition for Concerned Citizens in Alton to come help them out, and I started out with them. We're helping veterans, and also we through the coalition we set up the construction training site at Lewis and Clark.
Wow.
Through the coalition, and as a board member, I went from a board member to second vice president, which I hold at this time, and then and also working with the coalition, I work with the American Legion 354. I'm the judge advocate, which is the attorney for the American Legion. I got to keep the rest of them guys straight. They let them mess up. And then, as it is now, I'm present with the 354 post in Alton on Elm Street, 301 Elm Street. And I started out from there about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, as an alternate for Mr. Ragland, who was the delegate, and I was his alternate. And then in 2015 or 16, I became the delegate. Mr. Ragland retired, and he's now deceased. He's a veteran also who was had a injury, or he was a diabetic from the Vietnam era War too.
Wow.
And so in the last, from 2016 to current now, I became the second vice president, and as is today, I'm the first vice president of the Madison County Veterans Administration.
And if you could talk to us about, because we were, guys, you have no idea. Before we started recording, we did a little bit of a mock interview, and you have done a lot of great things to help so many veterans. And I want to ask you to tell us about some of those things that you've done that are really innovative, and really a lot of people could thank you and your guys' group for doing this.
Well, also in working with the coalition, I was assigned to the Madison County tax committee about 8 years ago, and tax reform committee, and we worked with TIF tax, senior citizen tax, veterans tax, other entities in the community to bring businesses into this community. And we had all of the people in concern, school board, we had labor unions, everybody that had an interest in bringing in businesses into the city of Alton or Madison County as a whole. And while working on this committee, I proposed, my thought was that when I got there, that number one, that senior citizens were losing their properties. At 65, you got to pay for your property all over again. So the proposal was to eliminate this so that senior citizens could keep their properties. So the proposal was for them to pay portions of their taxes all year long, up to 12 months, and they wouldn't have to worry about, well, I'm going to buy my medicine or this pill or that pill, and you could still have money that you could do this with. So the proposal went through that they pay their taxes once a month, or either they can pay them payroll deduction, take it out of their checking account, however they wanted to, and then at the end of the year they could still keep this property.
Wow.
On the other hand, for the veterans, the proposal was from anybody that was a veteran that had a disability, that they could pay they paid taxes, part of their taxes, from 10% to 100%. At 10%, you get a proportion off the house that you live in. Taxes, it was proportioned up until 100%. At 100%, veterans that were totally disabled to 100%, they would have to pay no taxes on the properties that they live in.
Wow.
And that is, it went into effect 4 years ago, which would be 2018. 2018, it went into effect. That now veterans, from these percentage-wise up to 100%, they don't have to pay any taxes. And we've, from the Veterans Administration standpoint, we put over $51 million back in the community, whereby if before we wouldn't have put this much money back into the community of Madison County.
That is incredible.
You know, and you have a number of veterans in Madison County that is now enjoying these proposals that the state approved on Veterans Day about 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a wow moment to me. And it doesn't just stop there. You even worked with two presidents at one point in time to get something else passed. You care to share that too?
Well, yeah. Well, I had some information that those of us who was in Vietnam at that time that were injured during the time of combat, you would get on your retirement. You was to get 10% payment on that, but they stopped it. And then to get it started back again, in working with the coalition, I went to the Veterans Administration in Edwardsville and got 250 names, address of all the senators and congressmen, and wrote a letter to them to reinstate this 10% combat pay with your regular disability pay. And I sent out 250 letters.
Wow.
Cost me $500 out of my pocket. Sent them to various different organizations and to every senator in the country at that time. And then during the time I think Bush was in, it was approved after President Obama got in. They pushed it through, and now we get the 10% back. They gave it to us a little bit at a time, 10% up until we became whole, which was about 4 years ago. That now all veterans that were injured in Vietnam or during those areas, they will get their whole combat ready pay along with their disability pays.
Wow.
This was approved. And I instrumented this when people told me it couldn't be done, that I done it anyway.
That is just incredible. Yeah. And I got to ask you this. We're running a little short on time here, but I want to ask you, what is the Legion planning on doing today, too? Because you guys have your own ceremonies itself.
Well, about 5 or 6 years ago in the coalition, I implemented a Veterans Day program. So I was seeing was nobody in the minority churches were doing any veterans program for any veterans. And so I thought about it, and I took it to the committee, and we started it then, and up until now. On Veterans Day, we have a Veterans Day program, have people to come in to talk about their experiences, and the ones that's on disabilities, we will help them get their claims filed. We give them a certificate for their services that they have done for this country to save this country. And we also give them some kind of a token to show appreciation. It might be a pen, it might be a benefit book, or letters about women's benefits, men's benefits, what the widow can do after a husband or some loved one passes on, their benefits, the whole bit. Wow. And also we also collect canned goods to give to the food bank at the on Crisis.
Yep.
And also we give to other food banks. The American Legion 354, which I'm a member of it and an adjunct, I've been giving clothes to the needy, to the home on Milton Road, shoes, coats, for at least 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Also, the battered women here in Alton off of Broadway.
Oasis, a great organization.
Collect old phones, give them to them. We collect clothing for women, shoes, bedding, whatever they need. We've been doing that for quite a while also. Wow. And that's up until this point. Now is where we're at.
And you're also going to have Doc Holliday is going to be your master of ceremony tomorrow, or today, correct? Because we're taping this in advance because you're a busy guy.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll have the newly, I guess he wasn't newly elected, he's been reelected, County Board Director, Mr. Doc Holliday, will be my guest speaker tomorrow on the program. And it would be at 11 o'clock to about 12:30 at Monroe Memorial Church in Alton. All veterans are invited to come, bring a family or whoever, and hear some of the things that the veterans are going through. And I would urge everybody to give the veterans their just dues, because when I come back from overseas and was in the hospital at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, people were throwing eggs on me.
It's just terrible.
And protesting the war, you know. I urge everybody to do the right thing and try to help veterans all they can, and do what we can to help the Veterans Administration and other organizations. If they're not hiring veterans, write your congressmen, your senators, and to help get these problems solved, where veterans can get a job and be law-abiding citizens. All veterans are not crazy, as they put us in the form, but let's try to get your congressmen and senators to do the right thing, and also approach these organizations that you know of that somebody's trying to get a job, that they would do the right thing and give them a job, you know.
Absolutely. And I couldn't have found a better way to wrap up this interview with that statement right there. Yeah. Earl C. Watts was first sergeant in the Army, and you've continued to do great work, service above self, without a doubt. And anything left that you'd like to get out before we say goodbye today?
I think I think we about covered all, and like I say, my main thing is that let's hire veterans at the Veteran Administration. Let's hire veterans at Madison County, and so that these veterans can, even though they have disabilities, that they can be a good tax-paying citizen in this community.
Absolutely.
And they have something to give,
Absolutely. And Earl, we can't thank you enough for your time stopping in today. Good luck tomorrow or today, depending on when you're watching. And thank you so much for your service, sir.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me to give some of this information to the community, so that we can all start to work together. This is a teamwork,
Yes. Yes.
For veterans and the citizens and our loved ones, and so that we can help get this community going in the right direction of this country.
Without a doubt there. You hit it right on the head, and thank you so much for your time. We'll be back with more of our conversations on our Veterans Day special. The celebrations at the VFW, they continue right after this in the Riverbend.
The biggest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in the Riverbend. Visit AltonToyota.com or stop by their location on the Homer Adams Parkway in Alton. Winner of the prestigious President's Award, Munganast Burkhardt Alton Toyota knows how to treat their customers, and they will help you find the vehicle that is perfect for you. For years, Munganast Toyota has been a fixture in the Riverbend. Now, Munganast Burkhardt carries the tradition. New name, but the same great service you've come to expect.
If you like to get out and go with a friend riding shotgun, the Z-Force line of sports side-by-sides are the perfect machines for you. Whether exploring the backcountry or racing down the trails, these beasts flat out give you more without having to pay for more. Life's too short to stay home.
We're back here at Alton VFW Post 1308 after a fantastic ceremony here for Veterans Day. Post Commander Wayne is here with me. And who do we have over here? Harry, you served in the Korean War, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Talk to us, if you could, about your time there during that conflict.
Okay. I went down to the Alton City Hall to sign up and tell them I was 18 years old, and signed up for the draft and walked across the hall and joined the Marine Corps at 18 years old.
Just as simple
1951.
Wow. It was just as simple as that back then.
It was just as simple as that. I signed up for 3 years. I got in 51, got out in 54.
Wow.
I went up in Korea in 1951 in August, and I left in August of 1952. So.
Wow. That's pretty.
1 year tour.
1 year tour. And if you could, talk to us about that 1 year in Korea and how that experience was.
Well, when I went to Korea as a lineman. And I ended up with telephone line people.
Oh.
And so I become a telephone lineman, and that's what I did for the rest of the time I was in the Marine Corps.
So you were big in the communications field, huh?
I was in the communications field.
Wow.
I was also in that when I got back to the States.
Wow. And how did your time in Korea affect your mantra, your lifestyle to this day?
It didn't bother me at all.
Wow.
I came and went, and nothing bothered me.
Where at?
Asking about the weather.
The weather. How was the weather? That has to be a different climate,
it's hot in the summertime, and it's cold as hell in the wintertime. If you've never seen 40 below, and you want to, go there.
Did you say 40 below?
40 below.
Oh, there's no way. I can't even do
There's
40 degrees.
There's mountains there.
And that's how the terrain changes quick, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. And what do you say to the younger generations, Harry, about Veterans Day and how it's how we should honor our brave men and women like yourself?
There's nothing like.
I did, John. Before, not to cut you off, but Harry, I was complaining about it being 45 degrees today, so I don't think I'd last about 3 seconds in Korea.
Well, no.
Yeah, that is a good question. How do you stay warm? John, you should be asking these questions today.
What was the question?
How did you stay warm in Korea there, Harry?
They gave us winter clothing, underclothes. I had 2 sets of winter underclothes and had them both on at the same time.
I love it.
Yeah.
And Harry, this has been a great conversation, and I appreciate your time. And want to ask you for the younger generations, because it seems like your generation was all about the grit and really stepping up for our country. What's your message to our younger generations about doing the same?
There is nothing like the military. You can grow up there. You can do anything you want to be. You just have to do it. The kids today are not signing up. The military is falling apart right now because they can't get enough people to run it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that we can all take a page out of your book, Harry, and follow your path, because you've had a heck of a career and a heck of a life.
Oh, well. The United States Marine Corps, CJ just said he's looking for a recruiter. I just heard him say he was looking that all the young kids need to go and sign up. So CJ should be looking for a Marine Corps recruiter right now.
Yeah, the Marine Corps is where we want you to sign.
Oh no! I'm telling you, the amount of trouble I get in on this microphone is just deafening. Well, and we have a couple of minutes left.
So you're saying the Air Force is where you need to go.
The easy way.
The easy way. Let's go in the Air Force.
I love this. Wayne, to wrap up real quick, Wayne Abel was the post commander of Alton VFW 1308. How was this ceremony? You guys did a fantastic job, and what are you looking forward to for the rest of the day and for next year as well?
Well, the rest of the day we have Outback and a funeral to do. We will be at the nursing homes to talk to all of our veterans that can't be out.
Wow.
Next year, I think we are going to recognize all of our medics. Anybody that was in the medic field or the doctors, we will recognize all those guys and all that in that way. This year, we recognized our Afghan and Iraq war veterans. I think next year we're going to look at recognizing our medics. I think them guys really deserve, them guys and gals, guys and gals need to deserve the recognition, especially if they're in there pulling their weight. And we got 2 or 3 medics just signed up at this post. So we got a lot of
good.
Chad's actually a medic out of the Marine Corps, so we got a lot of people that can represent that. So I think that's what we're going to look at next year.
That's fantastic. Well, Harry, it was great meeting you, and thank you for your service. And Wayne, like always, a pleasure.
Good to see you, CJ.
No problem. This has been
guys, appreciate y'all's technicalities.
Yeah, without John and Ryan, we wouldn't have been able to do this today. It's been an adventure, and I'm glad that we could bring it to you live from Alton VFW Post 1308. This has been the Veterans Day celebration right here on RiverBender.com. We'll see you Monday at 9 for The Daily Show.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBenderRadio.com.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
If you like to get out and go with a friend riding shotgun, the Z-Force line of sports side-by-sides are the perfect machines for you. Whether exploring the backcountry or racing down the trails, these beasts flat out give you more without having to pay for more. Life's too short to stay home.
RiverBender's coverage of today's event is brought to you by Macias Insurance Agency, your local independent insurance agent. Liberty Bank, Bank Local, Bank Liberty. Roberts Motors, the value store since 1949. Lewis and Clark Community College, empowering people. Munganats Burkhardt Toyota, the biggest selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs in the Riverbend. Ed Eagle's Discount Carpet, quality carpet, tile, vinyl, and hardwood at discount prices. Nautilus Fitness Center, the Riverbend's premier health club. Mike Fanistock State Farm Insurance, your local State Farm agent in Wood River. Quality Buick GMC Cadillac in Alton and Jerseyville. Quality. It's more than just our name. Barrett Heating and Cooling, proudly serving Madison, Jersey, and Macoupin County since 1896. Cheapy's Tires, dependable tires at an unbelievable price.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trunked. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible. Covering auto, home, business, and life insurance, our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance